Mm. Hello, people, and welcome to another edition of yours truly, Josiah Willis, here there with another reaction. Let's go right ahead and get back to it. Back to my fellow YouTuber multi-channel reaction series. Today we have my guy once again, Assemble Wrestling. He just couldn't wait. He just didn't let what I just put out sink in. Okay, man, say I got to come back with another video. All right, and that is WWE just might surprise us all in 2025, and I love that title. I love it because I'm all about surprises. I love surprises. I think any and everyone should relish in surprises. If you do not, and you want everything spoiled to you, then you're no fun. Sorry, I had to keep it real. You're no fun. So here we are. Once again, I am not as enthusiastic, as loud, as not that I'm not excited. I am still excited. I am just not physically physically doing the great right now. I have a bit of a headache. Thank God it's not migraines to where it's causing me to go on the toilet, have even more pain. But once I'm done with this, I'm going to upload these videos and then proceed to have a bit of a nap and get some rest. Just get some real good rest. Once I am done with these videos, well, this video, of course, and yeah, we're going to see where my guy Assemble Wrestling has to talk about, and I will pause in between to see if I agree, disagree, or just maybe highlight some things that he might be right about. So, anyways, let's go right ahead and get into this video. Let's not waste too much time and get into my sticks. Okay, now let's get into the proceedings. Ladies and gentlemen, please do me a quick favor, and that is to like, comment, subscribe, and views. Put your minds out there. The link of this video will be down in my description below. This is Assembles Wrestling presents WWE Just Might Surprise Us All this year in 2025. And yes, you guys, oh yeah, and yes, you guys, I do have two other YouTube channels. One is called the King Life Podcast, alongside my good friend and fellow co-host Anthony Lombardo, and the other is called the Live Outlet, LYVE Space Outlet, alongside my other good friends, Rail, Ebony, Beezy. We talk that talk, listen in, and pick up some gems. Okay, enough talking. Let's get into this reaction. Here we go.
2025 is shaping up to be a big year for WWE. Raw moving to Netflix, SmackDown is going 3 hours, John Cena returning to finally give us that heel turn, right? Well, anyways, I thought it'd be fun we give you our predictions for 2025 and what we think could happen for WWE. Now, speaking of John Cena, I think one of the first big things that we could see is John Cena breaking that record, becoming a 17-time champion. Could be for the world title and he beats Gunther at WrestleMania. He could go off and fight Cody Rhodes. Maybe he beats Cody for his title. Maybe he doesn't have it at WrestleMania. Maybe it's like a SummerSlam thing. But I do feel at some point in John Cena's final run, his retirement tour, he's gonna pick up the title. I think a lot of people would also love to see it if he went up against like Braun Breaker, got the Intercontinental Championship. There's a lot of directions they can go with John, but I do feel that at the end.
Okay, quickly. Do you guys? I have about three case scenarios as to how WWE could go about this. Do I want to see John Cena get towards his 17th World Heavyweight Championship this year in 2025? I'd be lying if I told you guys no, essentially. So I do want to see that happen. I do want to see John Cena get towards his 17th world title. With that said, I would also like to see John Cena go for the IC title. I've debated this a little bit with a friend of mine, as you guys know, Swoop, and me and him have both gone on record to say, like, John should go for either. He believes John should go for the IC title come WrestleMania. I believe John should go for the world title come WrestleMania. But I also do believe, well, not also. Let me take that back. Let me rephrase that word. I also feel Cena should go after just uh, a not a dream match, but rather I would like to see Cena go for a match that he's ever had, that he's pretty much never had at WrestleMania. And my case scenario is going, okay, what if we was to get John Cena versus Randy Orton for WrestleMania this year? To me, I'm fine with it because to me, arguably, I believe Randy Orton is John Cena's greatest feud. That's just my opinion. I really do feel like John Cena's best feud has been with Randy Orton. Some say CM Punk, some say Edge, some say perhaps it was I don't know Big Show, like just some guy Batista maybe, Kevin Owens. If you want to throw that out there, I'm not going to be upset. Triple H, it could be a nerd candidate for that. I look at Randy Orton as John Cena's arguably his greatest feud, period. So I'm like, what better way to put the final bow on things by having these two legends at the peak of their careers go at it for one more time, one more match at WrestleMania. So I think that would just in my opinion again, I would love to see that. But let me know what you guys think.
End of the day, Triple H would say he's going to get that championship. It would make for a great story, and I think they want John to hold that record. Okay, next up is CM Punk, big WWE superstar, and I do think he's going to have a bigger 2025. He had an amazing feud with Drew McIntyre for all of 2024, despite injuries on both sides for Drew and Punk, but I do think that 25, he's going to do even more. They have teased already. They planted seeds for a lot of different stories for Punk. Obviously, we have what's going on with Seth Rollins right now. They've teased things with Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns. What's the big favor from Paul Heyman? We still don't know. But for 2025 overall, I think one of the first things that could happen for Punk is winning the Royal Rumble, something that he has not yet done. It makes a very clean path to WrestleMania, and we don't know what's going to happen with Final Boss either, and that could just blow everything else up. Punk, I think, could win the Rumble. I also see him winning the world title in 2025. Against who? I don't know yet, but I'm saying he's going to be walking around with that championship at some point. Okay, I got another two, and they're involving Judgment Day. Number one, I think Dom Mysterio is going to finally break away from all of Judgment Day, including Liv Morgan. The time I'm recording this is before the debut of Raw.
So before we go right ahead and get into all that, which by the way, I would love to see Dominic do that too, but there are some who are very much concerned that Dominic probably won't thrive once the group is breaking up. I know who I'm talking about, by the way. Anyways, when it comes to CM Punk, I look at it like, see, Punk is a very, very interesting case. It's almost like with Roman and Cody, like you don't know where WWE is going to take them, which again is a great thing. But it's also sometimes a bit like trolling, trying to figure out like where do you go with them. So for me, I think CM Punk's clear journey to WrestleMania, or to the road to WrestleMania rather, I would love to see Punk and Seth Rollins. I think that's still a match I want to see at WrestleMania, even though we're going to get that on free television. Well, not free television, but you get my point. You're going to get that on Netflix. And that's fine. And I'm okay with it. I just hope that WWE does somewhat give them a feud. I don't necessarily want the feud to be too long, unless you make it, interesting and not where it's welcome by giving more wrinkles to the story, more layers to the story. Then I'm fine with it either way. But I like to see Punk versus Seth Rollins. I think at some point you give Punk, either Punk's beast going through for that world title, Seth beast going through for that world title, and you go Punk Rollins again WrestleMania for the world title. The question I have to pose to you guys is, does CM Punk and Seth Rollins need a world title to have, actually three questions I want to ask you guys. Does CM Punk and Seth Rollins need a world title? Does CM Punk and Seth Rollins not need a world title? Does CM Punk and Seth Rollins need to main event WrestleMania either night 1 or night 2? Again, let me know your thoughts in the comments below.
Raw on Netflix, Liv and Rhea are going to have their title match. Now, if things crumble for Judgment Day, I think a really cool story and a good move for Dom.
YouTube has its own YouTube channel?
Oh, YouTube has their own YouTube channel. I did not know that. That's great. That's dope. I don't care right now, though. But I'm going to Yep, there we go. Okay. Pause. All right.
Go over to SmackDown on
I'll take
a
that.
character is to break away
Just
and go over to
more.
Liv and Rhea are going to have their title match. Now, if things crumble for Judgment Day, I think a really cool story and a good move for Dom as a character is to break away and go over to SmackDown on his own. I think it'd be really fun and really interesting if Dom's kind of reading the tea leaves and he was able to see that this isn't working out anymore. And he's also, as a character, it's very insecure, right? He's been dominated by Rhea Ripley for years. And he's kind of doing the exact same thing with Liv Morgan. He's under all of their thumbs. And I don't think Dom's character wants confrontation very much. So I think what he does do is he just kind of sneaks away and leaves everybody else, and he goes over to SmackDown on his own. He gets signed over there by Nick Aldis. It would actually create a bit of a pop and a face pop for Dom because he did something really cool and he got away from Liv Morgan. Now, does that mean that Dom goes off and has a babyface run? No, but I can see them. They got a long road with Dom, but I think that he finally needs to have proper singles feuds without the supporting cast members of Ray, of Rhea, Judgment Day, New Judgment Day, Liv Morgan, all of that stuff. I think Dom in 25 needs, as a character, needs to have his breakout time. And if he stays on Raw, and if all the Judgment Day stays on Raw in some form or fashion, then I think it's too likely that he stays in that bubble and he never gets breakout as a single star. Now, with Judgment Day, and speaking of them, I think in 25, they all break up. And I think it needs to happen. Original Judgment Day broke up, saw the Terror Twins form, and then they're kind of doing nothing now. Damian Priest is kind of lukewarm at the moment. The Liv Rhea story's been going on too long. Finn Balor keeps losing, and he's still fighting with Damian Priest. They lost the tag team titles. Carlito does whatever. Raquel is not doing too much.
By the way, what he is saying, I'll tell you about it just a little bit. It's all true. All of it's true.
On Raw in some form or fashion, then I think it's too likely that he stays in that bubble and he never gets breakout as a single star. Now, with Judgment Day, and speaking of them, I think in 25, they all break up. And I think it needs to happen. Original Judgment Day broke up, saw the Terror Twins form, and then they're kind of doing nothing now. Damian Priest is kind of lukewarm at the moment. The Liv Rhea story's been going on too long. Finn Balor keeps losing, and he's still fighting with Damian Priest. They lost the tag team titles. Carlito does whatever. Raquel is not doing too much. There's not a whole lot happening with Judgment Day, and I think the story has finally fizzled out, which is unfortunate that they weren't able to kind of put an end cap on this whole thing. Maybe they'll pull it together and give us a really cool story or something that will finish it. But I think this year you're going to see Judgment Day branch off, and go all of their separate ways. I could see Liv, if Liv's dropping the title, Liv and Raquel maybe stick as tag team partners, and they try to do that, go after mid-card titles. Finn needs to do something else. Stop feuding with Damian Priest. And everybody else just kind of goes on their own way. Okay, next up, let's talk about Charlotte Flair, because I think Charlotte is pretty obviously going to be returning this year. We've had teaser trailers online. I think for WWE, it's a matter of time and making the story make sense to bring her back into the fold. I think that Charlotte goes on a massive tear as a heel, as the dominant giant heel, Roman Reigns-esque, Brock Lesnar-esque run over the next year. She can't come back as just a smiling babyface, because Charlotte as a babyface doesn't work for me. I find it very boring, bland, and every version or tweak on character we've seen of Charlotte, it's basically all been under Vince McMahon.
This is true. It's just that WWE. Here's the problem with Charlotte's babyface. It's because WWE keep on doing things that make her feel too much more heel than it does feel babyface. See, the key to being a great babyface, and this is what I strongly believe in. I don't care what nobody says, because it can always work. We have seen time and time again how it can work if you tell the right story. Okay, the way it should, I always feel it should have worked for Charlotte. And I'll talk to this with my friends. I'll talk to this with my cousin. I'll talk to this with just a few guys that I probably met randomly about wrestling. Talk about wrestling. I've always said the problem with Charlotte Flair isn't that she's not a great wrestler. It's not that she's not a great promo artist. It's that she's not talented. I've never taken anything away from Charlotte. I think the problem with Charlotte is she comes back and they immediately book her to be in the championship contention over any and everybody else. And granted, she thrives very, very well at it, but it becomes a bit too passe. It's too much of the norm. It's very unpredictable. And if we're talking about going towards Netflix and Raw, and I've seen some taglines and slogans about it, making it feel unprecedented, unpredictable, then you should do something different with Charlotte Flair as to how you book her. And Hunter has somewhat done that. I will give him credit where credit is done. Although he's given her child opportunities, he hasn't immediately gone, Charlotte, you win, Charlotte, you win, Charlotte, you win. Still, it's not entirely too different. We need to come up with something that's very, very different for Charlotte Flair. As much as I like his idea, I'm not necessarily sold on the idea. So this is where I have to disagree with him over. I wouldn't mind WWE keeping Charlotte as babyface, but the way you make her a believable babyface is you tell some sort of story about Charlotte maybe losing her confidence, maybe her being injured for so long does something to her psyche to the point where she forgets how great she was as a wrestler to begin with. Maybe you have her lose matches. That way you can tell a story of her struggling so that when she does win a match, it means something. There is substance to the bone about this. So yes, I'm getting passionate. I'm getting a little bit loud, and I am still hurting my head a little bit. Sorry. But at the same time, there is ways you can go about telling a story about her being babyface. I don't think so much about her being bland and boring. Yes, but that's been designed because of the booking. I don't think it's been because of her. I think it's because of the way WWE books her in the past that you would expect that. But this is we're now in the Triple H era. And again, she was in that era, but we didn't fully get the era of Hunter until WrestleMania last year in April. So, fingers crossed, WWE do something different. If they don't, that's fine. But still, give us something different if you're going to have her go back as a heel. Either one is fine for me, but it can work for her to be a babyface. They just need to tell the right story and make it come across believable. Okay, I said it.
And as Triple H was taking over, Charlotte was there and then she got injured. But her character hasn't evolved too much. They just either make her straightforward heel, straightforward babyface. I think Charlotte goes on the heel run of her career. I don't expect us to have Charlotte in WWE full time for very much longer. And to elevate other babyfaces and bring other people up, I think you need her as this huge, dark, menacing heel. She wins the title, don't know when, WrestleMania, after that, whatever. But she picks up a title and she goes on an epic long run with it. Could it be boring? Maybe, but you never know. Maybe they could give Charlotte a faction, bring up stars from NXT, and they work with Charlotte and kind of protect her.
I love that.
Triple H loves his factions, let's be honest. All right, next on the list is Drew McIntyre. I love Drew from 2023. All of 24.
I actually love that idea about Charlotte coming in with a stable. I think they somewhat kind of like teased it before, like when they had her and with Dana Brooke, and Dana Brooke was like her protege at the time, and I somewhat did like it, but it just didn't go too like long term, like fully. You know what I'm saying? That was the only thing. So again, if WWE can somehow find a way to make it work, I'm all for it. You won't see me complaining.
Triple H loves his factions, let's be honest. All right, next on the list is Drew McIntyre. I love Drew from 2023, all of 24. Had a massive breakout year, won the world title, and then lost it, and then went off with CM Punk, as we know. Feud of the year for me, honestly, other than like AEW, was Swerve and Hangman. Love the Hell in a Cell match a lot. And even now, as Drew McIntyre is a bloodline hunter and going after everybody, it's the next evolution of his character. I think this year, Drew McIntyre wins the title and actually has a title run. Now, does he go after, you guys tell me, but does he go after the world title, whoever world champion is, whether it's Punk, Gunther, Seth, whoever, or does he go over and fight Cody at some point in the year? And I say that because, as we know, he's taking down everyone in the bloodline, and I think that will include Roman Reigns at some point. But Cody Rhodes has also allied himself along with Roman Reigns. He did the tag team match, and I think that Drew is going to have a problem with that, and I really would love to see Cody versus Drew. If they build Drew up enough, they could make him somebody that dethrones Cody. It's possible, because I don't see...
And Drew is able, bro. First off, take my money for a Cody and Drew feud any day of the week, any time of the week, any month, any year. I don't care. I will put my money into that, into just seeing them cook and do something, because I love it. I love Drew coming after Cody because Drew is a believable threat. Drew is not playing games, bro. Do not mistake what happened with him last year in 2024 as, oh, they did do it, Drew dirty. They booked him, not accordingly. Right? No. WWE don't realize what they done created was a complete monster and a killer. And Drew is not playing. The Bloodline Hunter storyline they're doing with him, I love it. So for it to come to fruition with him going after Cody, yes, give it to me. I love that. And yes, I can buy into Drew versus Cody because, matter of fact, I can buy into Drew actually beating Cody for the belt. So yeah, I agree.
Cody versus Drew. If they build Drew up enough, they could make him somebody that dethrones Cody. It's possible because I don't see Cody holding on to that belt for another year. They got to switch it up. And to switch things up a little bit more, I think that they need to have a breakout character for 2025. I think we see that with Karrion Kross. I really liked Kross's work with The Miz, Final Testament. What they're doing with Karrion Kross as a character, it's got a little more comedic timing in there. Stuff with The Miz, I think, has really helped him. Kross is very good on the mic, but he just hasn't really broken out that much. Feuding with the Wyatts has been fine. Final Testament loses a lot. I don't know if I see Final Testament breaking up officially because I think having a full faction of all of them together can work. But I think Karrion Kross really should and needs to have a breakout singles year, picking up maybe the Intercontinental title or the US title. Not in the world title yet, but if they play their cards right, they could have another very strong mid-card, upper mid-card guy. And I think the fans will eventually, they will get behind Kross more just in terms of the act and being like, okay, we just appreciate this guy's work. And the crowd is going to start pushing Karrion Kross. Another person for a breakout year, Braun Breaker. Now, Braun Breaker arguably has had his breakout year and all of that. But I think they take it up a notch with Braun. They
Agreeing with him about Braun Breaker. Braun definitely can have a breakout 2025. Jeez. 2025, yes, I can see Braun definitely having a breakout year for sure.
being like, okay, we just appreciate this guy's work, and the crowd is going to
2025, if I said 2024 again, I'm sorry. Okay, going back.
The fans will eventually, they will get behind Kross more just in terms of the act and being like, okay, we just appreciate this guy's work, and the crowd is going to start pushing Karrion Kross. Another person for a breakout year, Braun Breaker. Now, Braun Breaker arguably has had his breakout year and all of that, but I think they take it up a notch with Braun. They really, really like him. He's on TV every week, multi-time Intercontinental Champion. So I think about halfway through the year, once we get to the summertime, I'm going to peg Braun as an early pick to win Money in the Bank, just to be able to elevate somebody in the later half of the year into the world title scene. Need more tweeners, faces, heels. Braun's doing that right now. They leverage him both sides. And he could pick up the title. See, like, I wouldn't peg him for 2026 to win like the Royal Rumble, but I think that you could have him with Money in the Bank. And it would be pretty interesting, especially if the WWE title is all tied up with Cody still, Bloodline, Brock, whatever. You give somebody who's more of the up-and-comer getting that Money in the Bank. Now, let's talk about Logan Paul for just half a second. I'm not a big Logan Paul fan. Maybe you are. I am not. I think he's done good work in WWE in terms of his in-ring work, puts on the good shows. He knows how to get the heat from the crowd and all that, but I don't like Logan Paul on my TV. And I know he went on social and he teased, "Oh, I'm leaving, I'm retiring from wrestling because
I get it, bro. I get it. Listen, nobody likes the Paul brothers. Nobody likes Logan Paul. Nobody likes Jake Paul. Nobody likes these guys, and for good reason. I'm not going to sit here and go like I'm not a fan of both guys. I am a fan of both guys. I just don't like them. I try my best to go, yo, I'm more so, matter of fact, I'll take that back. I'm more so a fan of Logan Paul. I'm not a fan of Jake. I'm not a fan of Jake. I respect Jake. I'm not a fan of Jake. To that way back. I'm sorry. I don't know why I said I'm a fan of both because I'm lying to myself. I'm not. I am a fan of Logan. I'm not a fan of Jake. Jake, I respect, salute to him for going after Mike Tyson, but at the same time, even with that, I'm also going, bro, you need to fight people who are around your weight class, around your age, prove that you are legitimate and stop with all this phony baloney. I'm a great boxer. I'm the greatest this. I'm the greatest that. Because you're not, bro. You're just stop lying to yourself. Just keep it real. And I get it. You guys got money. You're rich. You're having fun. You're doing things that y'all had never probably thought of if you could ever do when you were kids. Look where you are at now. I respect and salute to you guys. It came from doing YouTube, and look where you're at now. So, same with Logan. Here's my thing, right? Logan Paul, to me, is an interesting case because, again, I love that he's coming to WWE and he's doing his thing, and he does it his way. And regardless of if you love it or hate it, he is putting the work. And I actually have to disagree just a little slightly. Logan doesn't put just good work in WWE. He's putting great work in WWE. You can say something about his promos. You can say something about his character presentation. And you can definitely have room to say about how he is booked. But when it comes to his overall performances, the boy is not missed. He's incredible. Like that springboard moonsault he did from the top rope onto LA Knight from SummerSlam last year. Like it's so great. The crowd still chanting, he still sucks. Like, what? Like, for a fact it did not suck. Y'all just don't like Logan Paul. And I get it. You like if you separate the human being or how you feel about Logan Paul personally, and you look at what he's done professionally, you have no other choice but to respect it. You know what I'm saying? It's just that we live in a world where if you're a polarized figure, if you're a controversial figure, I don't know. It's just we live in a real world of a very weird world. And again, I have my reasons for not liking Logan Paul and Jake Paul, and like both individually, whatever. But sometimes I think we do miss out on the boat of not giving these guys the the credit that is due for them because we're just too busy hating on them and everything that they do. So I'm gonna just leave it at that.
I have child. And then a week later, he shows up at the press conference for the Raw Netflix stuff, and he's there, and he's drafted to Monday Night Raw. I think in 2025, Logan Paul leaves WWE. I think WWE moves away from Logan Paul due to controversy, or they just don't want to have to deal with things anymore surrounding him. And I think that they say bye-bye. Could be after Mania, after SummerSlam. They squeeze that one little last bit out of Logan Paul, and then they say, thanks for coming, see you later. Knowing WWE, they would put him in the Hall of Fame as under the celebrity wing or something like that. But the other reason, too, is who the heck is Logan Paul going to fight nowadays? I know John Cena is on that list, but Logan Paul just gets teed up to have all of these big-time matches. He has them on his podcast, and then he has the feud with them. That's pretty much the formula. And I don't really want to see it anymore. And I don't think there's anybody else left that he can really feud with. And also, he's never there long enough where you can feel invested. Sure, he was United States champion and he was around a little bit, but he had like one title defense and that was it. And I don't feel like there's anybody else left on the roster, on the active roster, that Logan Paul can have a legitimate feud with where people are going to care. And I think fans are going to care less and less about him in WWE. Other thing for WWE this year, I think more 2-night PLEs get announced. Not necessarily that they're going to happen in 25, but I think WWE will announce it for down the road in future years. We already know we're going to get SummerSlam as 2-night event. That's a big deal. I could see them finishing up SummerSlam and then announcing that the 2026 or 7 Royal Rumble is going to be a 2-night show where they'll have men's Rumble one night, women's Rumble the next night. The rosters are so big and they keep sticking with the 5-6 match card. I think those big events like they are doing with SummerSlam, we already have WrestleMania. I think you could do a Royal Rumble because the Rumbles are an hour long. Put them on their own respective nights. You get world title matches, mid-card titles. Like we got women's mid-card titles now. There's a lot. And if WWE and Triple H still want to stick with the 5-6 matches on the card, it's very difficult to feature anybody. So I think they go with more because they keep selling everything out. They might as well. And in those Royal Rumbles, I think we see some NXT call-ups come to main roster.
And I've even talked about that some months ago again with my friends, and I've literally said like I would like for WWE if you're doing a 2-night WrestleMania. My thought process is, okay, we're in the Triple H era. Again, we are with Triple H. They announced 2 nights for SummerSlam. 2 nights for SummerSlam for this year. Forget where the state's going to be at, but they're going to do 2 nights for this year. And they're doing 2 nights again for Minneapolis and for SummerSlam back in, which will happen in 2026. So my thought process is going, okay, these are WWE's. You get the big 5 pay-per-views. You got Royal Rumble. I want to say Chamber, but Chamber is not considered a big 5 no more. So Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, WrestleMania, Money in the Bank, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series are the big 5 pay-per-views, right? So my thought process is, do you do 2 nights for each of those pay-per-views to sell the weight and the magnitude of how big they are? Now, I love that WWE is building towards that and going, we're not going to do 2 nights, for all respective shows at the moment. But it's just a thought process of going, okay, if these are the big pay-per-view cards, 2 nights is not a bad idea. I think the 2 night concept, by the way, happened back then for WWE, but it's also a thing that New Japan Pro Wrestling does a lot of times. So they do the 2 night events. Sometimes Wrestle Kingdom went back-to-back 2 nights. I'm not sure if they're doing Wrestle Kingdom this year back-to-back 2 nights, but I digress. Again.
Roster. I think Jordynne Grace in this year's Royal Rumble enters the Royal Rumble once again, but she's officially signed to WWE. The cool thing I like them to see them do with that is have like a backstage, like at the Rumble itself, you have just a little cut to backstage during the action. And it's just one of the GMs, and all you see is them standing there. Nick Aldis is like, okay, it's official. You're signed with us. And all you see is like a handshake or a pen to paper. And then, boom, everyone's like, oh, who is this? And they give Jordynne Grace the big feel and big debut, officially on the roster. She goes to Monday Night Raw. And then on top of that, I think other call-ups we could see from NXT, Roxanne Perez and Trick Williams, potentially. I know that they like to have them on NXT because they need the star power over there. Granted, the women's side of NXT is loaded, and I do think they need to relieve some of that pressure. Roxanne Perez, I think you can bring her up as a heel, put her on SmackDown, and it will work out great. Trick is a matter of time. I don't know when they want to pull the trigger on Trick Williams, but before they can move Trick to main roster, I think that they need NXT's men's main event scene. They need more main eventers up there before Trick can go. But Trick in 25, maybe it's through the draft, and that's when he gets called up. Speaking of the draft, another prediction, I think they bring the draft back. Right now, we're in the window portal thing of the world where like they just transfer places. So because they're in an office transfer period right now, and that's fine. But I think they will finish up WrestleMania, and they're doing this, I think, now because they have 3 hours of SmackDown, 3 hours of Raw on Netflix, and they don't know how they want the rosters to shake out just yet. So before they can do the official draft once again, they're going to allow all this flip-flop and happening all the way through to WrestleMania. You got Roman, you might have Rock, and they might want to be on Netflix, or they're going to be on SmackDown. After WrestleMania, and the week after, I think they do another big official draft. Maybe they'll tweak the format so it's a little bit more fun. Okay, women's side. Jade and Bianca have a big-time feud this year. I'm going with that whodunit story of who put Jade through the car. I'm going to say it's Bianca. She's teaming up with Naomi. Could be Naomi. Could be both of them. Because maybe this was what their plan was all along, was to get the two of them as tag team partners and kick Jade out. WWE, I think they need to push Jade if they want to get the payoff for this huge signing. When she came in, it was a huge, huge deal. Been a lot of fun having her on main roster, teaming with Bianca, but that is starting, I think, to kind of peter out. You want Jade to be a main eventer, a WrestleMania main event spot type of wrestler. She needs that feud, and she needs to have that personal story. Do it with Bianca. They can put on a great match, and then I think Jade would go off, and she would end up having a big feud with Charlotte. Next up, let's talk about the Street Profits. I want to see this year, I like the Street Profits, but the time is up. I want to see the Street Profits go up, and I want them to go on their own individual runs, and specifically Montez Ford. I want him to get a big singles run, maybe even as a heel. I think Montez is great. WWE has.
Montez Ford's single push has been long overdue. I've been waiting for it. We've been waiting. This is especially we've been waiting for it for like the last 2 years now. Like, I don't know if you've been saying point longer than 2 years. Maybe you have, but if y'all remember back in 2023, they did the Elimination Chamber. And Austin Theory at the time was the WWE United States champion. and they literally had Montez Ford do one of the most crazy spots I've seen a wrestler do in a chamber match, and he broke out, and he has such a great showing that it made you go like, yeah, we need to break him up. Now, I don't want to do the cliche. This wrestler turns on that wrestler turns on that wrestler, and then they feud for like a few months, and then before you know, they go their separate ways. We don't need that. We don't need Montez Ford or Angelo Dawkins to do that. We just need for them to respectfully go, listen, bro, I love you. We've been holding down for so long. We've been busting our tails. We've been doing our thing for a while. It's time for us to move on and see how far we can thrive on our own. Why does tag teams always have to do the usual break up, feud? Just break up respectfully, going your separate ways. And then maybe within, I don't know, probably the next 5 years or so, you can go theory. Montez and Angelo Dawkins come back together as a tag team. The Street Profits reunite. We can have that nice reunion tour. I don't know, something that would be great for that. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm quite sure Montez is going at some point. I need to have my moment, to shine my own, and WWE needs to stop dropping the ball on giving that idea or that push for Montez, let alone for Angelo, because both of them to me are equally as talented. I don't look at just Montez as just going, he's a like quote unquote star. I look at Angelo. Angelo definitely improved a whole lot this year in 2024. I mean, last year in 2024. So I want to see where they go from there. You don't have to break them up by having them feud. Just break them up, let them go their separate ways.
Flirted with it a little bit in the past with him having singles matches and being the kind of a breakout single star. Like he was in the Elimination Chamber a couple years ago. He was awesome. And he's got all the ingredients to be a main event star. It'd be great to have him as like an arrogant heel. You could give Ford his own faction. They love doing that stuff. The Street Profits break up. Ford goes on his own. I think they need it. How many more times are they just going to be sticking around in the tag division? And maybe they're going to switch brands and then splinter off that way too. Now, speaking of switching brands, Kevin Owens. Owens for the later half of 2024 has been my favorite thing because he is the true real world champion. I love that storyline and I want him to beat Cody, and I don't think he will, but I would love him to do that. But because Kevin Owens is likely not to beat Cody Rhodes before WrestleMania, what do you do with Owens once that storyline with Cody Rhodes ends? Does he simply pivot over and he's feuding with Randy Orton for half a year? Maybe, and that would be excellent. But I think with a draft potentially happening after WrestleMania, and I'm going to kind of go on a limb and say it's Owens versus Randy maybe at Mania one-on-one. Once that all ends, Kevin Owens, I don't feel like can just stay on SmackDown doing his thing. Finishing the story with Cody, maybe finishing a story with Randy. There's nobody else there for him to really work with unless he goes down to the mid-card. And I think you want to keep Kevin Owens pretty much at the tippy top. So I think that Owens gets drafted back. He does a lot of drafting, doesn't he? He switches brands a lot, but he's kind of like a utility player that way. You can plunk him into anything. But I think he gets drafted back over to Raw. And then I think what you could have in the later half of the year is Owens versus Punk. Could he win the title or not? It's a personal story, but I think it could be very much like.
I will love to see CM Punk versus Kevin Owens. I will. That's another few. I see when Punk came back. There was multiple. Matter of fact, way before even Punk came back, there was multiple thoughts about seeing who will Punk go toe to toe with in WWE. And there's been multiple guys. There's been multiple feuds. Kevin Owens makes complete sense because Kevin Owens is also friends with, the guys that were EVPs in the AEW business, the Young Bucks. I love the Young Bucks, okay? I'm not going to do that where I don't want to mention their names because I'm a fan of the Young Bucks. I don't care nobody say. So what you want to say about them. Their tag team wrestling is not great. They do too many spots. They're high risk. Boom, boom. You can say whatever you want to say about the Young Bucks. You will not see me trash them. I understand Punk has this issue with them, and they have their issues with Punk. I'm not going to do that. So again, Kevin is friends with them, so they can tie that storyline into CM Punk. And yeah, I would like to see a feud between Punk and Kevin. Punk is just a great magnet for just putting together feuds that just work. And it's funny, not too many guys can really say that. Now, how many wrestlers do anybody really knows like can attach themselves to feuds that feel very much compelling and are based on real life stuff? Like, I'm not saying Punk was the first one to do it. All I'm saying is he has a special knack for creating intrigue and feuds that most wrestlers a lot of times can sometimes do it, but it doesn't always work for them. With Punk, it seems like it's effortless. It always somehow works. You put him with Seth, it works. You put him with Drew, it works. You put him with you just insert name whoever. Punk is gonna make it work. It's just hard for this guy to miss, really.
Drew, like Seth and Kevin Owens, and they've even kind of hinted at it when Punk first returned. Him and Kevin Owens are not on the same page. Also, I just thought of this too. It kind of furthers Kevin Owens' heel motivation, where he's fighting with Cody right now. One reason because Cody has helped the bloodline and Kevin Owens has dealt with the bloodline forever. So that's one reason why he's fighting Cody. He hates him for that. He can kind of do the same thing to Punk. Eventually get in the Punk feud. You could say, you helped out Roman Reigns and the bloodline. Like, screw you. And for all the other reasons. And then I think you could get a really big personal story. Could go on for months between Owens and Punk, and I think it'd be a lot of fun. I mentioned Cody and Kevin Owens having this big epic feud. Cody, I think, needs a change. Do I think Cody turns heel? No. What do you think? I don't think that happens, but I don't think WWE nowadays goes with the tried and true standard version of heel turn or face turn, where one week they just wake up and they're bad and they hate everything. They change, they tweak, they modify their character. Kevin Owens wasn't a straight up heel turn. He is now. He's a full bad guy. But it didn't happen overnight. He didn't wake up after Bash in Berlin where he faced Cody and then all of a sudden straight up bad guy. It took time. Cody is the face of the company, one of, but he is the poster guy. He's the guy doing like the podcast. He does the media stuff now. Like he's up there. He's got the WWE championship. He's Mr. Babyface. He's Mr. WWE. I don't know if WWE would want to risk pivoting Cody's character at all because he is such a babyface, but I would really like to see it. He doesn't have to go full out, but I would like to see a little bit more of the snarkiness from Cody. A little bit more edge, where he does fight other baby faces and they look like more of the baby face than Cody does because of everything Cody has gone through over the years with the bloodline, the Rock, and everything else. I think you could get more frustration out of Cody, and he doesn't have to full out be like, oh, the fans turned on him and all of that. He'll have his supporters and he just keeps playing into it. But I think if they do it right, they can kind of have it both ways, where people still cheer for Cody and they like him, but he becomes a little bit more of that edgy, political, snarky heel, cuts a little bit more of the vicious promo, and then you know what? That would even keep fans wanting to cheer for him too, because he'd be doing some cool work. And there are a lot of predictions we can make for like up and down the card, and I don't have time for that, and I don't think you do either. So one other big prediction here has to do with the final boss, The Rock. I think he does come back for WrestleMania. I'd be shocked if he didn't, because it's The Rock, it's Mania 41. There's options for stories in there with The Rock and Roman or Rock and Cody. And you don't have all the time in the world to pull the trigger on those big time matches, especially Rock versus Roman, one time only. So I think he shows up at the Royal Rumble. And I'm going to say that like if Punk doesn't win the Rumble, it's because of The Rock. And I think that The Rock could come in at number 30 or Final Boss shows up at 31 and he takes the win of the Royal Rumble all by himself. Going on to WrestleMania to fight Cody, for example, or three-way with Roman, whatever. It'll be convoluted with The Rock. It's going to be a mess. But what are your big predictions for 2025? Good or bad? Subscribe to the channel, and if you want to talk more WWE, click this video right here. Have a great day. See ya.
By the way, I just thought about this. If Simon Miller was in the video, or he just came in my head for some reason. If Simon Miller was here, he would go goofy wrestling nonsense for 2025. Have R-Truth win the world title. Let's see Carmelo Hayes team with Braun Strowman in a tag team faces a random pair tag team. This is something Simon Miller would just go on and probably just say. I love Simon, by the way. Positive Pete, that's my guy. But yeah, man. So I really do enjoy this video. Thought Simba Wrestling did a great job again analyzing the different ideas WWE can go with, whether it's something to do with the men's division, the women's division, the tag team division, feuds, breakups, rivalries, new character changes, breakout performances, all that, and then some. Here's what we do know for a fact: We don't know what WWE truly has cooking up for 2025. All we know is that there may be clear directions they may go for. With that said, that's great. That's why you tune in. That's why, as a wrestling fan, you should want to see what comes up next. And then you speculate further. And then you probably put in your head as to what could happen next with in terms of your fancy booking. In terms of your fancy booking. So, Netflix next week, January 6th, 2025, I'm there. I am definitely there. Not in the building, of course. I wish I could be because I'm not from LA. But still, I am there to watch it. I have my laptop on. I watch it on Netflix and watch all the other WWE shows they got on the content because I am such a wrestling fan. Anyways, let me know how you guys feel. As he just said, what are you guys' thoughts? How did you feel about this video? Let me know if anything I can improve on. I will try my best to keep me in your prayers for my head. Yeah, we'll see what WWE got, coming up with this year in 2025. If you guys enjoyed this reaction, please request for more videos by Assemble Wrestling or guys that are very similar or content creators that are very similar. Ladies and gentlemen, please do me a quick favor, and that is to, again, like, comment, subscribe, and views. Put your minds out there. The link of this video will be down in my description below. This was Assemble Wrestling. WWE just might surprise us all in 2025. All right. If you guys would like to, feel free to donate a super thanks to help support this channel, as I would like to return the following somehow, some way this year in 2025. And follow me on my social media, from Facebook to Instagram to Twitter to Threads, maybe even TikTok, where I will try my hardest, my absolute hardest, to remain consistently active, giving you guys old reactions, new reactions, while trying my best to stay up to date. King Life, we are out.